I'd like to call the Tuesday, February 18th, 2025 Common Council meeting to order. Let's begin with the pledge. Councilwoman Konechny.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Clerk Treasurer Parthun.
Councilwoman Konechny. Present. Councilman Buchanan.
Here.
Councilwoman West.
Here.
Councilman Frankie.
Here.
With no mustache. Councilwoman Huffman.
Here.
Councilwoman Ficus.
Present.
Councilman Galloway.
Here.
All present.
Is this the first meeting without a mustache?
You were just on Facebook.
It comes and goes.
Approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Petitions and comments of citizens. I don't believe we have anything online. We do have one from the crowd. Brian Cager, please come forward. State your name and address for the record.
Hi, Brian Cager, 406 Easton Street. I just wanted to bring it to the city council, maybe, or not necessarily you guys, but make sure the heads are aware of it, where the last block of Park Street, there's a water main leak. Like where they tied in to, for the annexation of the triangle, where Park Street meets Park Road. But that last block of still Park Street, like it's at that intersection. There's always fresh water standing there.
Okay.
So if it's not known, somebody needs to know before it's a gigantic sinkhole.
Thank you. When was the last time you saw that? Because you reported it.
Today.
You just saw
I
it today.
literally, I drive it, that's my
Texting.
neighborhood area. I drive that corner all the time. And at first I thought it was just, over the past couple of weeks, snow melt, whatever else. No, it's always standing water and the pothole, if you would, is getting bigger and bigger. And so they tied in on the east side of Park Street. The hole is on the west side of Park Street, like after the blacktop stops, and the hole is getting bigger and bigger. So,
Perfect. How's your mom doing?
as far as I know, good in Florida.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah.
Standing committee reports. Council President Frankie.
Redevelopment Commission meets next Wednesday, the 26th, here in council chambers at 5:15. That's all I have.
Councilwoman Huffman.
I have nothing to report this evening.
Councilwoman Ficus.
Park Board meets tomorrow, 4 PM at the Park Office, and then Traffic Commission will have their next meeting on Tuesday, March 4th, 5 PM at the Police Station.
Councilman Galloway.
Police Merit Commission met on the 11th. It was Terry Sher's last meeting. And we have 2 graduating in May, 2 officers, and they got 5 applicants, and BG was kept on as the attorney. That's it.
Thank you. Councilwoman West.
The UEA met on January 15th, where the bylaws were reviewed with a few changes, which were adopted and passed unanimously. We had a special grant request from Cutler Properties at 822 Lincoln Way. Laura and Thaddeus Cutler introduced a special grant request for rehab plan for 822 Lincoln Way and a conversion of the upper stories of the building to artist workplaces. After discussion and understanding the requirements of a development agreement, the motion was passed unanimously. Marianne Richards reported that the city and the Lebesnick Center for the Arts are developing a process and policy to make available to people interested in having a mural on their building. It is still not determined as to how the UEA will receive the funding requests for the murals, but additional meetings are planned. Discussion and action on a special grant agreement with Boiler Holdings LLC at 614 Monroe Street. Bert Cook presented a special grant agreement with Boiler Holdings at that address. Bert also reported there are increased construction costs associated with the project. He is working with the developers to write a new special grant agreement, and as of right now, no action has been taken. The dumpster request, the Department of Code Enforcement made a request to change from the supervision of the dumpster program to additional employment of a code enforcement officer. At this point, no action has been taken, and that will be discussed further. The next UEA meeting will be this Wednesday, February 19th at 4 o'clock in council chambers. The bid board met on February 10th at 5 o'clock in city chambers, and it's just a reminder to all business owners, please do not use rock salt on the pavers downtown. It will disintegrate them. Calcium chloride or magnesium mixtures are preferred and easily available. And the bid board will be sharing some exciting developments for the planners in 2025 with more details to come. And their next board meeting will be March 10th at 5 o'clock in city chambers. For the Fire Merit Commission, we would like to applaud the following employees for celebrating their work anniversaries this month. So congratulations and thank you for your dedication and ongoing commitment to serve LaPorte community and the LaPorte Fire Department. With that being said, firefighter mechanic Brian Gray, 17 years of service. Captain Eddie Wineland, 17 years of service. Firefighter Randy Sheldon, 14 years of service. Firefighter Adam Post, 10 years of service. Firefighter Jeremy Kelly, 10 years of service. Firefighter Jacob Cooney, 5 years of service. Firefighter Cameron Watt, 2 years of service. And firefighter Patrick Roy, 2 years of service. And the next Fire Merit Commission meeting will be held Wednesday, March 5th at 6:30 at Fire Station Number 1 on 18th Street. End of committee notes.
You sure?
I think so, yeah.
Councilman Buchanan.
Historic Preservation Commission meets tomorrow at 5:30 here in council chambers. And report.
Councilwoman Konechny.
The Airport Authority will meet next on Wednesday, March 12th at 5:15 at the airport.
Recognition of services or service. Terry Shear, Tim Frankie, Council President.
Thanks. Along with the Police Commission, I want to recognize Terry for his years of service on the commission, but also, I mean, for the majority of your life, you've been a true public servant, and I certainly appreciate that. You know, your resume is long, but from city council to police chief, you name it, Terry's done it all. But if I could welcome the Police Commission, past and present, up to recognize Mr. Shear.
Brian Chalik, Mike Kellums, please come forward.
So we just wanted, as members of the current Police Commission, to recognize Terry for his service. We've got a plaque that we made in his honor to recognize, probably going back to, what year did you start as a police officer? In the 70s?
Well, yeah, but I started at LaPorte in 1980.
Yeah, that's a long, lengthy career. I was in elementary school then, so we won't talk about that. But,
I was born in '84, I have you beat.
Academy in 77.
But Terry has been instrumental in many different levels of city government, not only serving as a city councilman, chief of police here in LaPorte, and his service on the Merit Commission, which is invaluable. As you well know, we've worked hard over the last year to get the numbers up, and that starts with Terry's leadership as our president. So on behalf of Brian and myself, we want to present this plaque recognizing him for his years of service and dedication to the department. Thank you.
Brian, anything to add?
Well, it's all right, thank you.
He's a great mentor, I'll tell you that.
Well, thank
Terry,
you.
please come forward, some words.
Um,
Well, you can go to the mic. I don't have to press the button because you're
Oh.
coming at me.
Yeah, I got one of those voices, don't I? Yeah, I'm not used to being recognized. I was just gonna ride off into the sunset. And then when Tim called me and said, well, would you like to be recognized, you know, the years of service, they've just been its own reward. I just love working with people, and I learned a lot of this from my parents, bless their souls, rest in peace. They taught me a lot about service and loving people. My wife, unfortunately, couldn't be here tonight. She's sick. But she was very supportive in all the stuff that I did. And and as a Christian, I have to thank my Lord Jesus Christ for all that he's done to guide me through, because as you all know, public service has its ups and downs, and sometimes the rewards aren't there like what you would think it would be. But I really appreciate this. I thank you very much for recognizing.
Terry, could we get a picture of you, Mike,
Sure.
Brian, and the council here
All right.
recognizing this? Ladies and gents. Clerk Cook, if you don't mind as well. You're the center.
You stand next to him.
Julie? So Laura can
I can be seen. Perfect.
Hi, Courtney.
The highs and the lows, huh? Yeah, Wally in. I love Wally Brath. Found our secret, Laura.
Yeah, I love your secret. I'll keep it to myself. Yes, Wally.
And Terry, if you remember, you don't even have to stay for the rest of the meeting if you choose not to.
I hate to say it, I go visit my brothers up in
We wish him well. CDBG, Conflict of Interest Disclosure. Mary Ann Richards.
Good evening. This is a conflict of interest disclosure that HUD is requiring me to read tonight as part of the public disclosure. The City of LaPorte is a direct entitlement community of federal funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development through the Community Development Block Grant. In fiscal year 2025, the city anticipates receiving $442,841 in regular CDBG funds. One of the proposed sub-recipients of the CDBG funding submitted a grant application for the purpose of purchasing food products for distribution at their service center for LaPorte residents. The applicant, the PAC Center, State Street Community Church, currently has one of its employees, Jamie Buchanan, who is married to Drew Buchanan and is a member of the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana. The Common Council of the City of LaPorte will make the decision to authorize the application of the CDBG application to HUD and approve the budget for fiscal year 2025. In the Code of Federal Regulations, which is 24 CFR 570.611, it states persons covered. The conflict of interest provision of paragraph 8B of this section apply to any person who is an employee, agent, consultant, officer, or elected official or appointed official of the recipient or of any designated public agencies or of subrecipients that are receiving funds under this part. The general rule is that no person described in the above-mentioned paragraph who exercise any functions or responsibilities with respect to the CDBG activities assisted under this part, or who are in a position to participate in a decision-making process or gain inside information with regard to such activities, may obtain a financial interest or benefit from a CDBG-assisted activity or have a financial assistant and interest in any contract or agreement with respect to a CDBG-assisted activity, either for themselves or those with whom they have business or immediate family ties during their tenure or 1 year thereafter. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development may grant an exemption to these provisions and allow the PAC Center State Street Community Church to receive funds for the purchase of food products for distribution at their service center for LaPorte's low and moderate income residents of the City of LaPorte, provided the City of LaPorte has publicly disclosed the nature of the potential conflict and an opinion from the city attorney that the interest for which the City of LaPorte is seeking the exception is not in violation of state or local law. The potential conflict in this case arises from a fact that a member of the Common Council of the City of LaPorte is married to an employee of the PAC Center State Street Community Church. City Attorney Nick Otis has reviewed all documentation and issued a legal opinion regarding the potential conflict of interest, and that has been submitted to HUD. Residents of LaPorte are encouraged to review the complete opinion and provide written comments. The comment period has already expired. It went from Monday, August 12th to September 9th of 2024. If anyone has any comments, they're more than welcome to submit them, and I will send them to HUD. What the city is asking for is a waiver of conflict. We did this with COVID dollars. The mayor was on the Salvation Army Advisory Board, and the Salvation Army was receiving funding. So we had to do all this back then. So this is just a formality. HUD already has the waiver of conflict packet, and they just told me I need to read this and include the names of the city council member.
So we do not need a motion, but can I tell you the unbelievable work that Jamie Buchanan does at the PAC Center and the difference that she makes with those that just need a little extra love and compassion. It's amazing work, and whatever she is paid, how little it is, I just can't imagine her commitment to our community and making lives better for all. So we're fortunate to have her at the PAC Center. And Drew, please pass on our thoughts to her, and thanks for all the work that she does.
One quick comment, just so it's understood for the public. Between this, the PAC Center has received this federal dollars before in years past, long before I was in this position, and before Jamie was in the position too. So it's not a new development that's happened now. I just wanted to make that, it's
Right,
because
they received COVID dollars.
Correct, yeah.
From HUD 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And these funds are only to purchase food products. They're not paying wages or anything that Jamie would benefit from or Drew would benefit from, so.
And anybody that has concern are welcome to volunteer and give up their time like Jamie does at the PAC Center, so.
They always need help on Wednesday night for the
Absolutely.
meal.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You know, we talk every day about why LaPorte is special and the things that we have that other communities don't, and it's amazing. We have a 100-year anniversary to discuss. Councilwoman West.
Your Honor, I move to introduce a resolution read for the first and only time in its entirety.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Councilwoman West.
A resolution by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte recognizing the 100th anniversary of the LaPorte Little Theater. Whereas there are currently 70 community theater companies operating across Indiana, and whereas in 1925, a small group of dedicated volunteers led by Ms. Florence Andrew got together to form the LaPorte Little Theater, with the company presenting 3 one-act plays for the first time on January 13th, 1926 at the LaPorte High School Auditorium. And whereas the Little Theater considered the LaPorte YMCA as home for many years, in 1951, when the club was formally incorporated by Carl Demzine and Harry Kelling, and just 3 years later was able to purchase the St. John's Lutheran Church building on 3rd and A Street in LaPorte, where it remains producing plays today. And whereas the LaPorte Little Theater, company of community volunteers, has sustained community theater here for 100 years. And whereas the art of storytelling is as old as time, and the Little Theater of LaPorte has provided remarkable and unforgettable musicals to historical dramas to side-splitting comedy and thoughtful commentary on modern society, and has done so based on the commitment of hundreds of dedicated volunteers for 100 years. Now therefore it be resolved by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte as follows. that the Common Council of the City of LaPorte hereby formally recognizes the 100th anniversary of the LaPorte Little Theater and requests the resolution be read at the opening house celebration to be held on Sunday, February 23rd, 2025, at the LaPorte Little Theater, starting at 1 p.m. Central Time. So I was hoping maybe Greta Friedman would come up. She's been a long-term member of the Little Theater, but I suppose we have to vote first, or can she come up and share?
Judge, please.
Thank you. And shout out to Jamie, who's also involved with Little Theater. Mayor and ladies and gentlemen of the council, thank you for your continued support of the arts in our community. We're so blessed because we have a city band, a symphony, and a local theater. And as Julie just read, this is the 100th anniversary of Little Theater. In the fall of 1925, a gentleman named Graham Young, who was a professional actor in London, transferred over here because he was working at a local company. And although he was no longer a professional actor, he still loved theater. So with the encouragement of the local librarian at that time, Miss Flora Case, he wrote an article for the Herald Argus announcing that on November 11th, 1925, there would be a meeting at the YMCA to explore the idea of establishing this club. There had been a European movement bringing theater to villages. It came over to the United States, and by 1917, there were 50 community theaters in the country. 25 people attended that meeting. The Porte Little Theater Club was born. And as Julie read, Florence Andrew was the first president. It was at what is now Boston, or the administration building. They wanted to get a crowd, so it was free. Place was packed. And as Julie read, they put on 3 one-act plays. For many years, the Y was the home of the Porte Little Theater, and they stored their things at Fox Woolen Mills, the Y, the fairgrounds. In 1951, Little Theater was then incorporated, and as Julie again read, in 1954, the club purchased the building. My father, Arlo Westphal, who was also a member of the Common Council many years ago, performed in a play the very first year, The Late George Apley. And since then, hundreds of musicals and plays have been there. I know you have all been there many times. It's a beloved part of our community, and we encourage everybody to stop by this Sunday from 1 to 3. I know the mayor and Julie will be there to hear much more about the theater, see some of the memorabilia. There's a great video that's been produced, and we also encourage you to get involved. If you have an interest in any way, volunteers are always needed. Again, thank you for supporting this. It's a wonderful recognition. On behalf of the board and members of the club, we want to thank you again for recognizing this. Oh, and the first production of this season is Music Man, which opens a week from Friday. So, thank you again.
Judge, you've been one of those participants. If we can ask for the record, what was your most famous role that you enjoyed while you've participated?
Probably my most famous was Peter Pan. I got to fly. But I think my favorite role was the role of Anne Sullivan in The Miracle Worker, teaching Helen Keller. So, thank you.
Questions for Judge? Don't leave. We have to, you know what, 100 years, it happens. Rarely, we're going to bring Judge up for a photo. But do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Come forward.
I'll bring it, yeah.
Okay. And all in favor of Nick Otis representing us in the next play?
He'd be great.
It's symmetrical.
Okay. Yay, congrats. Oh, I have to.
Introduction of an ordinance and public hearing for an additional appropriation. Councilwoman Huffman.
Thank you. I would like to introduce an ordinance read for the first time in its entirety.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Huffman.
Thank you. Additional appropriation for ARP Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, Fund Number 2401. Whereas it has been determined that it is now necessary to appropriate more money than was appropriated in the annual budget. Now therefore, Section 1, be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, LaPorte County, Indiana, that for the expenses of the taxing unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of the fund named and for the purposes specified, subject to the laws governing the same. ARP Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, Fund Number 2401. Bella Largo Infrastructure, 2401-000-421. Amount requested, $150.62. Amount approved, $150.62. Park Street Infrastructure, 2401-000-421.001. Amount requested, $89,050. Amount approved, $89,050. Shrewsdale Clear Lake Loop, 2401-000-315. Amount requested, $497,797.23. Amount approved, $497,797.23. Ice Rink, 2401-803-375. Amount requested, $11,084.60. Amount approved, $11,084.60. End of ordinance.
There is an affidavit of publication.
Correct. The notice is hereby given to the affidavit of publication states notice is hereby given to the taxpayers of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, that the City of LaPorte Common Council will conduct a public hearing at 6 p.m. on February 18th, 2025 at City Hall Chambers, 801 Michigan Avenue, to consider the ARP Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, number 2401, in the amounts listed in the ordinance.
This is an ordinance, so questions from the council?
Courtney, can you
Here.
put on the record what the...
Yeah, so this is just procedural. At the end of the year, we discussed the encumbrances and resolutions. Those were not, the encumbrances were done before the transfers were done. So this is just reappropriating the money back into the budget. It's just putting it into the budget now. So procedural for our accounting system.
Part of this is opening up for a public comment, so I will now open this to a public comment. Would anybody like to speak? Opening the public comment. Hearing none, public comment is closed. This will now move to March 3rd, if you can believe it or not. Councilwoman Konechny, introduction of a resolution.
Your Honor, I'd like to introduce a resolution read for its first and only time in its entirety.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Konechny.
A resolution declaring Fund 5508, Property Maintenance Fund, dormant and transferred. Whereas the City of LaPorte, the city, LaPorte County, Indiana, finds that the purposes for which Fund 5508, Property Maintenance Fund, was created has been fulfilled, and whereas the monies collected into these funds have not been appropriated and the funds have become dormant. And whereas the Common Council of the City of LaPorte is authorized to transfer these unused and unencumbered funds into Fund 1101 General Fund. Now therefore, let it be resolved, the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, LaPorte County, Indiana, hereby declare Fund 5508, Property Maintenance Fund, to be dormant and authorizes the clerk treasurer to transfer the remaining balance into Fund 1101 General Fund. Fund 5508, Property Maintenance Fund, in the amount of $65,848.44. Close the dormant fund and repeal any ordinances establishing the fund. This resolution should be in full force and effect immediately upon adoption. All acts necessary to carry out this resolution are hereby ratified.
Clerk Treasurer Parthone.
Okay, so if you recall, there was a duplication by the DLGF of our bid assessment in 2024. It had a tax rate and not an assessment, although we still received the bid assessment. So we had to create Fund 5508, Property Maintenance Fund, to account for those property tax dollars that were unnecessarily levied in budget year 2024. We've received the full amount for budget year 2024, so the next step is to declare Fund 5508 dormant and transfer those funds to the General Fund 1101, where they should have been in the first place.
Motion to approve.
Motion and a second. This is a resolution. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Councilman Galloway, introduction of a resolution.
Your Honor, I'd like to introduce a resolution, read it for the only time.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilman Galloway.
Resolution to transfer funds within the 2025 budgets. Whereas there are additional monies needed in certain line items in 2025 budgets in order to pay for essential services and obligations. Now therefore be it, and it is hereby resolved by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, that the following transfers be made within the following budgets for the year 2025. General Fund, Communications, from 1101-311-315 Professional Services to 110-311-391 Other Services, $83.
Clerk Treasurer Parthone.
This was just a request from the Communications Director, a whopping $83 transfer, but I'm happy she's looking at her reports for the year already, so.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Other business, I'd ask the public to keep tabs on what's happening in the legislature this year. The governor's top priority is property tax relief. We have not heard the request for property tax relief here in the city of LaPorte. We have heard for improved services, additional services, but I think it's a discussion we as a community can have together and look forward to that. I know they're looking at senior property tax caps, low-income property tax caps, other ideas. We're halfway through, basically, and I think it's a good discussion to have with the public on all the services that are offered, as well as reducing property taxes and what that looks like. So keep eyes and ears open. Any thoughts on that? Comments, Mr. Galloway?
Talking senior citizens and disabled veterans? I probably
And
won't have to pay
veterans.
nothing, huh?
And veterans. So those are thoughts that we have to discuss for the future local government perspective. And other comments? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Everybody have a great night. And thank you for coming.